Yeah, we try and take questions at the end. And it used to be like integrated into the whole system with Reddit talk, and not so much anymore. So we will take questions through chat at least, and if you leave them in the comments on the sticky Reddit thread, I'll try and check in there as well. So, like, whenever you're listening throughout the show, you can leave questions, and we'll try and get to them at the end. I guess with that, Drew, you have any big news stories from the last month you want to cover?
Absolutely. So, we did a lot of ENS shows and talked about ENS a lot last year. And we saw, a
You
little bit
can
of the
see I
hype.
threw the ENS logo. The ENS logo made it onto the title slide of the stream. How was
Yeah.
this for you, Drew?
Yeah, for good reason. I mean, ENS obviously did really well last year. And what's interesting is even though there's less hype and there's less clubs and less shenanigans going on, they still have similar revenue this year to last year. So last year they had 28 million in revenue. This year, 21 million. In the chat for the YouTube show today, I just put a link to the new article I came out with. And me as a writer, I've tried to be balanced. So I covered half ENS and half Unstoppable Domains. Unstoppable Domains having just announced a big partnership with Polygon. And there's a lot of really interesting messaging features that both companies are integrating recently. XMTP integrations and a lot of work with MailChain. And so the article in the chat link just has all those updates. If you have not paid attention to Web3 domains all summer and into this fall, that article is your one-stop shop. I interviewed Brad Cam, who's a co-founder of Unstoppable Domains. I interviewed Corey Whitaker, who's the executive director for ENS Labs. So I try to give a lot of perspective, and none of that work is paid. So neither company pays me to cover them. It's completely neutral. So, typically you're getting a maxi, you're getting ENS maxi or an Unstoppable maxi. But what I've started to realize essentially is Unstoppable Domains has not been talked about that much. We probably, being on our cryptocurrency, maybe heard more about Unstoppable Domains in like 2018, 19, and 20 because they
Yeah,
had more of,
they've been kind of affiliated with the subreddit going back to 2018 to some extent for sure. Yeah,
yeah,
they've been
yeah.
around.
So I noticed there had kind of a lull during the last bull market, but their marketing has picked up significantly, and they sponsored the NFT 100 event. They sponsor a lot of stuff, co-sponsoring with Polygon in New York and Miami and a lot of the different blockchain conferences. So they kind of got my attention out of nowhere. It was my first NFT was Unstoppable Domains. I'd forgotten about it. So the article has like a bunch of marketing and integration updates from both sides. And I have to say, their founder, Brad Cam, has been hitting the Twitter space circuit, and he's pretty impressive. And the big controversy is this. So there's a certain technology that ENS Labs used to deploy domains on blockchain. And it was invented by their team, by Nick.eth and their developers. Unstoppable Domains went and patented that technology, and they got the patent. It wasn't just like an application, it was approved. So now they're in this little battle. And so Unstoppable Domains has created this organization called the Web3 Alliance. And they're saying, oh, we're extending the patent rights to everyone in the alliance. And then, of course, ENS was not in the alliance. So then they said, well, we're extending the patent rights to ENS. But ENS is maybe going to litigate about this because it's their technology. So Unstoppable's claim is that they were doing this to avoid a Web 2 naming service coming in and snatching the technology from us. And so they wanted to do it defensively. And they're encouraging more companies to do defensive patents with their open source innovations because you could turn into a situation where you invented something and now you're not being allowed to use it. So it's going to be a very interesting couple of months. with how these patent issues play out. It's gotten to the point that the ENS people are no longer comfortable talking about unstoppable domains, meaning they may litigate. So this is a story I'm following, and you'll see updates on it on my Twitter. But definitely something with these two big players in Web3 domains kind of battling it out. But what I found most interesting is that Unstoppable has rolled out a significant number of updates to their website that support ENS. You can buy ENS with a credit card through the Unstoppable website. You can auto renew your domain. So there's all these new features that they have that they're basically treating ENS just like another TLD, meaning like .com or .ai or whatever. They're treating them like just another TLD. And their founder, Brad Cam, said there's going to be hundreds of Web3 TLDs. For you Bitcoin maxis out there, the Unstoppable team recently purchased the rights to .sats, and .sats are one of the ordinals that are minting for the Bitcoin.
It's getting confusing with that stuff, man, because like Unstoppable already had a .btc one, and then I think Stacks, Stacks is like the Bitcoin one, layer 2 or kind of like the Polygon equivalent on Bitcoin. And they have their own .btc. So I think you can get like the same domain, right, on two different networks or companies. So it's getting a little confusing.
You remember the Steve Ballmer developers, right?
Yeah.
So for this, it's collisions. So yeah, this happens all the time where you have multiple name services. So for example, Unstoppable, and they get made fun of for this. They say, oh, it wasn't really Unstoppable because they had to rescind their .coin TLD, and they refunded everyone. And they basically said .coin is already being used by a certain service and company. We didn't know that. And so we're going to just pull it back. And I'll tell you, like, this is the thing that makes me bullish on Unstoppable. Their founder, Brad Cam, is like really deep in it, and he can explain it really well, talking essentially about how they don't want to have these naming collisions in Web3, and their company will spend the money and make the strategic moves to try to avoid that. In some cases, acquiring, in some cases, pulling back their own service if they've already offered it. But I think probably the most forward-thinking thing that they did is they released a .x TLD like a year or two before Twitter became .x. So that's another interesting thing to follow.
All right. With that domain shilling finished, let's go ahead and go to the next screen. So we have, because we're switching, used to be on Reddit Talk where we had no video, but now we're on YouTube, so we can have video, so you can see our lovely or ugly faces, depending on your taste. And yeah, so we got and I was blasting music through the YouTube stream, so I'm sorry. I was just saying that we switched to live video, and now in the background we got Louie
C. Rhymes.
Louie C. Rhymes playing in the background. We have here. So, I don't know. It seemed kind of weird and awkward to just have the title screen going with the talk going in the background. So I figured we'd just get everybody on screen here. So if you want to take a second and introduce yourself, Louie, go for it.
What up? My name is Louie C. Rhymes, the NFT rapper, aka NF Trapper, Mr. Camacho by day, the Web3 Apostle, the Web3 Apostle by night. It's Louie, baby. We outside, fam. How are you guys?
Nice. Good, man. That was hype. Yeah. That was the most hype introduction ever on the podcast.
This is how I met this guy. I'm on the roof, NFT NYC. What was it, 2021?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I was in there, and I go to these conferences to vet investments I've made, from teams to artists. I'm trying to meet people and figure out who's got it, who has the real energy, make you feel good, can talk to you. And this kid, he's like a kid at the time, got the long hair, comes up to me, and he is just lights up this room with enthusiasm. Hailing from BK, I understand. But yeah, I talked to him for almost half an hour, and just so impressed by Louie. And of course, he's done a couple of different NFT projects, and he brings the bars. He posts the content consistently. That's what you're looking for in an artist. If you're trying to throw in $100, $300, $50, whatever it is, on an NFT, this is the type of person you want to collect from, in my view, because he's original, and in person he brings that energy. So, without further ado.
Cool. Thank you for the intro. And I just turned the music down because it was going when we had the intro going. I think it was good levels. Sorry, we're still working out the kinks here on the video. But yeah, music is down now, so everybody should be able to hear fine going forwards. And yeah, man, actually, so when did you guys meet, did you say? In 2021 or 2022?
2021, I think it was.
Okay. So like at the height of the mania, and now here we are. Like that was my only other like news story on for the beginning anyway, and so I figured we might as well bring Louie in. We can all share in the discussion here. Like it's not the right for like cryptocurrencies more broadly. It's not the depths of the bear market, but I think for NFTs, it really is still like the absolute. Maybe it's gonna get darker. I don't know. Like it's getting down deep, right? Like,
I mean, listen. At the end of the day, in my opinion, like whenever the outcome, we're always outcome oriented, results oriented, and this is a hyper financialized, oriented space. You expect these kinds of things, right? So for me, it doesn't matter, right? Would an artist stop making music and sharing music if there was a bear market or a bull market? Like, what the hell does that even mean? That doesn't make any sense to me. The space to me is very it's about the technology. People always say, oh, we're going to join Web3. We're going to liberate everybody. It's going to be wonderful. We're going to save the world. We're going to get our IP back and nobody can touch it. We're going to control everything we do. And it's like, yeah, that is the case if you know how to use the technology. But like, I'm done hearing that the space is innovative. The space is not the innovative part. The creativity of the creator using the technology is the innovative part. So I got NFTs dropping. I'll be dropping one October 4th. I have my entire Hip Hop Heads debut album still minting. I've sold a lot of NFTs. I'm a phys ed teacher from New York City, and I do this completely independently. And I'm building up my budget for ad spend, but I've never used ad spend. And basically, I've just taken my projects and flipped them on top of themselves to invest in the next one, to build the next one. And it's been going really super well for me. But like, I am very into the technology and what it can do for me, right? So I chose the blockchain for two reasons, straight up. It was the first place that I was able to monetize so successfully without the extra constant promotion and advertisements. And I'll tell you the story on that real quick, where somebody found me on Instagram and was like, dude, like, you're as good as a famous person. Like, how do you not make any money?
So before you dive in deeper.
Oh, yeah.
Were you involved in making music pre NFTs? I assume you've been making music for a long time.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, I've been making music probably since 2011, but like never caring to monetize it until 2019.
Were you ever performing like out in public?
Yeah.
Okay, so before NFTs, like you were like out in public doing your thing, and this is just like a new technology that you want to like use in your craft.
Yeah, people like view it as like, oh, and my holders have to run my life and my world. It's like, I don't really view it that way. I view it as like, it's another store to sell your shit at. That's the way I look at it. And for me personally, I love the idea that the technology can guarantee me a way to give access to people to things exclusively. And here's the thing that pisses me off. When people are like, well, the blockchain can guarantee that I give these exclusive experiences. Well, what about Patreon and YouTube and everywhere else that does the same exact thing? There's other gating services. They just charge you to do it. The reason why the blockchain is special is because I don't need to pay any extra money to use the concept of gating if I know how to use it. And I guess that exists in Web 2 if you're the developer and the coder. But at the same point in time in Web 3, those things have been made available readily and easily through like metaverse parcels, discords, mint gate links, like that could be just gated links. And so for me, like, the NFT space just showed like a completely different way for me to cut out the middlemen, cut out the people like YouTube who don't let me use their exclusivity features because I have to have a certain amount of engagement to give people a certain experience in the way that I want it. So like I'm fully built out in the metaverse, and that's the way I get people to interact with my music. And you know, there is a big thing right now about like the 1,000 fans concept, but I am kind of like, you know, I still agree that like if that's your goal, then then you're more monetary based. Like I just want to make money while I give people my music for free, you know? So like I'm gonna get like when you distribute your music, it says like do it all unpaid or only the paid sites. And I click do it all even unpaid, right? Because my goal is to have the music listened to. I finally was able to monetize successfully. I'm very happy about it. And so with that being said, like I've moved on to now like what's my purpose? What's my cause? I'm a teacher. So I've been making affirmation music for students, and we're using it in class and things like that. So this technology is just like an amazing thing that you're either going to know and take advantage of, or it could take advantage of you, right? Here's another example of that, where the NFT, the music NFT market, everybody's throwing their hands up in the air at ooh la la, you know, and sound for becoming these music NFT aggregators who aren't paying them for their streams. And it's like, bro, you uploaded your shit to a permissionless protocol that allows everybody to see where your things are. So, with that being said, don't distribute here if that's an outcome you're not happy with. I want people to get access to my stuff for free. If one more artist in the NFT space tells me, oh my goodness, I'm going to give you gated access to download the file, it's like, bro, fuck your life. I could get your file from the metadata. And I'll stop there. Hydrate, you seem like you got a full palate.
Oh, I like that. I mean, so many things you said resonate with me. And if you think back to Stoner Cats, who was charged by the SEC just a week or two ago for distributing an unregistered security, the whole premise of their project, which was backed by Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, Vitalik Buterin, they had voiceovers by Chris Rock, Jane Fonda. They were trying to distribute content using Web3 and have token gated access. And the first episode, within 1 minute, somebody streamed the episode on YouTube and they couldn't do anything about it. And it just destroyed their whole model. I think we got Poppy that just joined us. What's going on? And I'll just continue my point. So I really like how, Louie, you said it's just another store. And I think sometimes in Web3 and blockchain, we complicate it. Like the biggest use case of Bitcoin is that you can count the Bitcoin. The Fed can't go print more Bitcoins. You know, the biggest use case for NFT is I have a worldwide sales platform that's secure. I can make a sale at any time, goes in my wallet. I don't even have to have a website. Like me personally, I'm too lazy to make a website. I like to use my Twitter and Manifold. That's all you're getting. So for me, that's super simple. And someone in Peru could buy it. Shit, someone in Antarctica could buy it. So that's powerful. And that's, as a medium of distribution, it's huge. And, you know, Louis, I love to hear the perspective on sound and the different, you know, VC-backed things that came in and tried to be part of it. Can you tell us a little more about the 1,000 fans? I haven't heard that term before.
So yeah, so like there's this, and I feel like I first heard it from Spotty Wi-Fi, honestly. Like the 1,000 fans is the new model for success as a creator. And a lot of people saying like focusing on trying to get, you know, $100 from 1,000 fans or whatever, than trying to go for streaming and do like, you know, millions of streams. I believe in that. I'm proof of that model working, but I don't. My purpose is not to make the money before it's to have you hear the music. So if I had to make a choice where there was a group of 10,000 people in front of me and they were like, well, you can rap right now, or we're not going to, you know, we're not going to pay you, or you could just pass up the opportunity. In this position, I'm rapping to them because they don't know who I am yet, you know? And I'm not above that. I'm not trying to act as though I have some perceived clout that would prevent me from going all in on those situations. But yeah, I mean, at the same point in time, the other thing with the NFT space in particular is a lot of people mimic the PFP project style. So that 1,000 fans thing, I feel like in the NFT space did come from the PFP project style mentality, because the collector bases are usually depending on 3K to 10K
Yeah,
around.
there was a lot of weird economics that arose out of the NFT world, where it's like, how much money can we extract from 10,000 people like max? Right? Like, it's like, and then it's like, how can we grow that to 50,000 people and then extract money from them? Right? Like,
Yep.
that was the whole thing. Like, make the dogs and then make the whatever, and then yeah. Let me just say real quick, we got at one Mr. Poppy here on the stream with us too. He's gonna be doing the regular. He did the We Are CC podcast forever. He led that, and we're gonna. That's the general podcast. We'll be bringing back Sunday night as well. So what's up, Nick, Mr. Poppy?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up,
Talking
Poppy?
NFTs and hip hop.
Hey, my two favorite things.
To kind of break in that, really, Bitcoin's not in the top two. Hip hop and
Yeah,
NFT.
I already told you, Bitcoin's not even my biggest bag, man. Don't judge me.
I have a Monero friend, and his chat name is Bitcoin is my favorite NFT, because it's not really fungible, right? Is the joke.
I'm not with any crypto.
Yeah, me too, pretty much. Not quite any, but I'm not as picky as some people is. But yeah, so I wanted to ask you, Louie, you're in high school, like New York City high school, day to day.
No, dude, I'm not a kid at all. So I'm 34 years old.
Well, he means a gym teacher.
Oh, okay. No, so I'm a physical education instructional coach. So I was and I put some respect on my name of physical education, because physical education is an academic subject that either can be taught in an academic standpoint or from a standpoint of a person who rolls out a ball and doesn't recognize the value of how much teachable moments can come in 40 minutes with a bunch of kids playing sports. But that's a simple way to put it. But so I'm a physical education instructional coach. I oversee 28 schools, different phys ed and health programs. I got a good 30,000.
But you're not like day to day with the kids.
I was for 9 years. I was a basketball coach, dean, and phys ed teacher in middle school.
How long ago did you part ways from that career?
5 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask you, like, what do you hear the kids saying about crypto or NFTs or whatever?
Well, so
it sounds like that was like too long ago now.
I'm in a bunch of different schools working with teachers and students. And one of the schools that I'm in, I'm trying to set up a situation where popes are being used to distribute proof of attendance for the kids at certain school events, and then get the art clubs involved to make the art, for the pope, and then really show them how like a tokenized thing, can work. The challenge is the rhetoric behind what a crypto wallet is. Once a rhetoric can be created that it's an account and it's not something so much tied to money, and certain crypto wallets or accounts can be ones that I guess have some type of feature, maybe that like only can collect one kind of coin, like a pope, so that it's not even a monetary, it's not even a monetary issue. I think I'll get more like traction on that. But yeah, it's just because one of the teachers knows about the NFT space and they're kind of in on it. So
I think there's got to be some issue with getting kids to install an app on their phone or whatever as well. Like they need to do like Reddit and get the built-in vault in your Schoology app or whatever, so you can get your Pope right there.
Yeah. It's oh, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's crazy. Even within the crypto community, you guys have probably run into this before, is a lot of the traders, a lot of the participants, they are in high school. These are high school kids. I've run into so many, and they're often much smarter and better at trading than a lot of us. I don't know if it's because they're risk, they're kind of full on risk. But I think it's almost more intuitive to them. For a lot of us in our 30s, 40s, we had to adopt this technology later. For them, it's a digital collectible. It's a song you're buying through an NFT. They don't really care about the tech. They just understand how it works intuitively.
Big facts. Yeah. And I mean, that's the other part of NFTs pricing. Back in 2021, it was like people were selling one of ones with no utility for 6 ETH. And I'm like, okay, let's see how sustainable this is. Let's play this game. Okay. And I got criticized a lot within music NFT chats about my pricing oh, Louie, you going too low. Why you pricing your shit so low? Why you pricing your shit so low, right? Because I price generally my album is hiphopheads.io. That's 0.03 ETH, but I price everything other than my album at 0.01. And I just believe that it's like similar to like when you go to the record store, right? Like it's similar when you used to go buy a single, and the PFP rhetoric, going back to it, like it really messed people up. Because when did you ever hear Jay-Z being like, I'm only going to sell 10,000 copies and then I got to stop, because then I got to say I'm sold out. It's like, you sell as many goddamn copies as you can, right? Open edition is the most beautiful thing that ever happened to music.
Yeah, and I really like if you want to like create some scarcity or whatever, like you can put a timer on it. You can be like, it's open for a week, right? Or it's open for a month. I agree. I think that that like 10K number that came from the PFP stuff, just it became like this fixation for NFT people, and it was like way too.
It feels like it's back.
Tunnel vision on it. Like
it feels like it's back in 2020 now. Like the vibe now is nice. Like when I was doing NFTs in 2020, we were searching out unique artists and spending a couple $100 here and there, and it was nothing serious. And you were just doing it for culture. I mean, you wanted to have tokenized stuff. And the first thing on my mind was not, oh, I can flip this in 20 years for this. I mean, that's there. But when you look at Louie's case, or you look at Billy's case, Billyracxx, a Houston-based artist that I follow, imagine having one of 50 Cent's early mixtapes. That's how I view getting like Louie's Heads album or his mint coming up. Like I'm spending dust essentially, and I'm getting something tokenized from him, and he wants everyone to hear his music. But in the end, things are collectible. I mean, look at the autograph circuit. People are chasing celebrities around, and they have video proof that they have something signed, and you can sign anything. Now those things deteriorate. They can be stolen.
Not with somebody else's private key.
Yeah, they're hard to authenticate. So when you can have early content from these artists, that's like a remarkable idea, and I think it will age very well, because the artists in the 90s or the 2000s that we listened to, they didn't even have that opportunity. So if I could buy one of Louie's albums and that helps him get to Rolling Loud or helps him set up a show, I'm like an early investor, and he doesn't have to go sign his name in blood and, give all his masters and his revenue away to some big blood-sucking corporation just because they can market. This allows him to do the marketing and us to market together. Like, I hit him up about this show. I'm like, yo, you should come on here. You fire, and you make good points. Like, this is how to do it, not, bow down to some big record company.
Yeah, no, never going to happen. I mean, it just doesn't make sense when you're that aware of the space and what it's capable of doing if you drive the seat the right way, right? I mean, if you go to ilb.land right now, I've got a fully metaverse built out, fully built out metaverse parcel, links to all interactive ways you can go in there in VR, right? That's an example of like, and then I gate things there. I do unreleased music there, unreleased videos. Every hip hop head gets access to every download, right? That's how you use the gating technology. And then you look at the NFT technology for how do you use it for promotion? How do you ramp up the idea of the song coming out? You never could get a fucking pre-save on Web2 Instagram. You have to sell your soul to the devil to have somebody pre-save your song on Instagram with less than 10K followers and looking like you got more clout than Kim Kardashian, right? But this tokenized aspect of I get something on that's free on Showtime.xyz has been where I've gone to live. And if you type in lcr.fan in your browser, just LCR like Louie C. Rhymes, LCR.fan, it'll take you to my Showtime pre-save that I have for my song coming up. But this is another way to use what somebody else built, right, as now, in my opinion, multiple things. This gives me the ability to give you something free, and guarantee that I can get to you later if I want to offer you something else because you did this. And you also then pre-save my song on the Web2 platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. And that's where I need you to go to right now, because I need people to listen to the music and get and hear it. So that's the most important priority. So I'm killing two birds with one stone. Now, if you're a brand new artist to the space and you haven't been here yet, if Showtime existed when I got here, I certainly would have been using that to dictate the amount of copies I wanted to sell if I wanted to do a fixed number. I would argue against doing a fixed number as a brand new artist and just do open edition. But if you were looking to do a certain fixed number, you would use something like Showtime, right? Because it's free to collect. So you figure if it's free to collect and let's say you do 100 collect, you get people to collect 100 editions. That's open edition. Now you think, well, how many would collect me for a paid $10 or $20 thing on ETH? Well, now you're thinking like, I mean, me, I'm humble. I think like I'd go for 10 if I was a brand new artist. I'd be like, I'm going to charge 0.01 times 10. I had 100 pre-saves for my next NFT. I'm not going to do a pre-save NFT. I'm going to do an ETH NFT. And like those tools really are beneficial to people. And because what happened with me with the PFP project rhetoric is like, I was like, well, fuck it. My thing was twofold. I was like, I want a store forever that I can have people go to and monetize if they like what they hear. If you like what you hear, you want to support me and you want to go all in, my most expensive thing right now is what? $45. It's 0.03 ETH. That's hiphopheads.io. But my second point, like with that, knowing that I wasn't famous, I was like, I'm not going to sell this out. I had 5,000 of them. And I was frowned upon for even suggesting that I would do it this size to my team because they're like, you have to do something that's going to sell it out. And I was like, bro, it's better because then when I'm in spaces and they hear me rap and they want to support your boy, I don't have to have a drop going on. It was that tied to, it was 2021 and everybody was buying NFTs like crazy. So I was like, I'd be an idiot to not release a high amount of editions because if this shit catches fire, I'd be an ass. I'd feel dumb to not give myself that opportunity.
So with that being said, how many copies did you sell?
I only sold 500,
no,
but I've sold 1,500 NFTs. So I've actually sold more NFTs that aren't hip hop heads subsequently as a result of building a collector base of around 250 people who own hip hop heads. They collect all the subsequent ones. And I also learned like on the way, because I was going with the PFP rhetoric, like, oh, give only back to the HHH holders. It's like, no, let everyone buy it every time. Just make sure the holders get it early and they get guaranteed access and they get a discount. That's what I want for them, and that's it. That's the way I do it.
I was going to say actually like, we've rebranded. I mentioned at the beginning it used to be called the monthly NFT roundup. And now you can see at the bottom of the screen, we are our cryptocurrency collectible podcast. And I talked about it with Drew for a little while because it's like, what do you call it? Like what I was like, really? Because it's like, I wanted to call it like our cryptocurrency digital ownership podcast, but I was like, that's a mouthful, right? Like that doesn't roll off the tongue. So if anybody has suggestions, we're still maybe gonna rebrand a second time. Not in love with because really like it's stupid to call everything an NFT, and it's probably equally stupid to try and call everything a collectible. Like you're not selling collectibles, you're selling music, and it's just a different way to distribute music, right? And it's a better way, I think. Hopefully, because like if you think about the progression of hey, what's up, man? We got Billyracxx here now too.
We got Billy. Perfect time. And what's going on?
But yeah, like just the naming type of thing. Let me throw on Cult Leader. We got Cult Leader, Billyracxx.
He's gonna put Billy's music on. I'm gonna share some of Billy's links in the chat here.
Thank you for joining. If you want to take a minute and introduce yourself, Billy, you can go for it.
Yeah, man. Nice to meet y'all. I'm Billyracxx, musician. Some people call me Cult Leader. I'm known by Cult Leader as well. And doing my thing, man. Independent artist, grinding, bro. Accomplished a lot of shit, but humbly. And we got a long way to go.
Cool. How long have you been like distributing your music by NFT?
21. Since 2021.
21. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I was just saying when you joined that it's like the podcast used to be called like the monthly NFT podcast, and then it went away for like 6 months, and now we're bringing it back, and it's called the Collectible podcast. But that's not really still the satisfying. I don't know. I don't think it's a really good name because like you guys aren't selling collectibles, right? You're selling music through digital ownership, right? So it's I don't know. I was just curious, like, what do you call it when you're putting it out there to your fans? Did you say it's like an album plus an NFT, or you call it a collectible, or like how do you talk about it?
I mean, I just had a conversation with Hydrate last time. He had, you had suggested something. For me, I talk about it like music. I've come to the point now where it's like it's music, it's experiences, it's moments, it's what I do. Like, I feel like I've merged the spaces pretty sufficiently so far. I mean, I've been one of the few artists to kind of merge the spaces integrally and like, so I don't really see it too different, and a lot of the people who have stuck by me in Web3 really like my music, my brand. You know, there are a lot of collectors who use me to pump because I made music that's specific to certain things. My relevance at certain times in the space could have been used to pump certain bags and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of people who have collected my work, my generative collection, and my one of ones and stuff like that, who I know were probably monetarily invested mainly. They may not have seen the bigger picture, and then some of those people have turned into like real believers to the point where like they probably just buy merch from me if I made it available for them, you know.
Cool.
So yeah, it's been uphill, but that I've always pushed that part of this grind in Web3 because I'm a creator.
Do you feel like your fans, for both of you guys, I guess, like, do you feel like there's more of your fans who are interested in digital ownership of your music now, or you have more people asking about it now, or was it like really, or is it similar to 21, or was it like way more people were asking about it and asking for it in 2021 and it's kind of dying off now? Like, how's your hype meter?
I'll let you answer that, bro, first.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, I'm lucky. Like, I came in with a community called Token Smart, who's like mad NFT Web3 like oriented people. So most of them are still here. That's what like taught me how to like do all this metaverse shit that I do and Discord parties and all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, I still am gonna monetize and attempt to monetize through Web3 right now. And at the same point in time, like, we're in a bear market. I sold like 132 at 0.01 a few months ago because I do it like tiered, you know, like if you own my base layer collection hip hop heads, then you could get these like the merch. So it'll be, so I have like this time for this drop, for example, I'm doing an autograph. And then if you buy, that's one copy, you buy 2 copies, then you get a CD. Which has an AR experience. Because believe it or not, yo, these vinyls are like the most monetarily like big booming thing that's happening for artists. These vinyls are going crazy. People want these vinyls. So I'm doing 10 copies gets you a vinyl if you're, and this is all if you own my base layer collection, my hip hop heads. And then if you don't and you're in the public, then it's double amount of editions to get to each layer of tier. And I do that on purpose.
People, like, do you see people using that type of stuff? Like, yeah,
I see people. I see people like seldomly going to buy hip hop heads because they'll be like, yo, I want the vinyl, but I'm not going to buy 20 at 0.01 for 0.2. So I'm just going to go buy the hip hop head for 0.03 and then buy 10 for, you know, so it's 0.13 and I get the vinyl. And like, I ain't going to lie, yo, 0.13 for a vinyl for me, I'm fucking thrilled. I just bought a CD from Russ for $8 that's signed. I got it right here. So like, I am not like that's good business to me. And then if you buy one for 0.01, you know, you get an autograph. So $16 for autograph. Like, that's cool for me, you know, on a sticker.
I like that. I look at it a similar way, just from a different perspective, because I'm fucking balls deep in Web 2, you know, balls deep in and still dealing with something that's necessary. I want to be a touring artist, a generational artist. So my grind here is very different. And so I see the space very different. Most of my NFTs that I put out, outside of my project, I make available for $11, stuff like that, unless I have like some type of physical, some type of other type of utility that's like collectible or something that they'll own physically. Like, I just make the music available for the same price that you get it from Spotify. You know what I mean? I don't want the NFT collectors to be to the cost of my music to be magically different from a person who really ain't as even an invested as they are. Like the Web 2 people, they hear your music and they gone. You know what I mean? Like they hear it, unless like everything else is firing off, you know, at the same time, you know, label, marketing, you know, fucking virality, all that stuff. That's a Web 2 fan. That's what they care about. Web 3 fans, it's different, and I appreciate the differences. You know what I mean? But I definitely try to make the price of the NFT cohesive across the board.
I like this.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of the name TMT. It's a tokenized mixtape. That's really what's happening here. I'm a huge fan of Billy. I became acquainted with Billy in late 2021. I actually own a few of his one of ones. And in addition to that, he puts out like these little mixtapes on Manifold here and there, and I try to pick those up. And Billy has really done a good job being the soundtrack to the movement. So he will get to know a certain project, and if there's life there, if there's really soul there, he will write bars about it and make songs about it. So he did that with Funks. He recently did a song dedicated to Matt Fury called Pepe Green, and really just whatever's happening in the movement, it's so relatable when you listen to the music. And for me, it's extremely sentimental. And they say like NFTs are dead. You saw the Rolling Stone, and it's funny, they had the Bored Ape at the top, they were bullish, at the bottom they're bearish. So I'm so happy to see Rolling Stone, which you might see in your local lavatory on the floor type magazine. Just the magazine industry suffering, National Geographic, etc., and they're trying to stay relevant by picking on the new technology. But like, the atmosphere right now is a collector's dream, whether you're trying to go back and make wrapped Ethereum bids on key collections that you've always loved. But when someone says to you NFTs are dead, one thing you can say simply is, what percentage of the collections are even trading? And it's really 10% or less of any given collection is trading. OpenSea has a very interesting feature on the page of any collection. It says the percent listed. And the percent listed is a very interesting metric which can let you know really how much of that collection is trading. Now, some people now trading on Blur, X2, Y2, there's different marketplaces, but not many of these collections are trading. So the floor price now of the average collection is not as relevant as it was during late 2021, early 2022, because there's just a lot less volume. And I think what that tells you is many collectors are either satisfied with what they have and they're confident, or they're completely not satisfied and think it's already worth zero, so there's no use
Yeah, I think a
listing
lot
it.
of people are just fading away, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. But
but I like that. I was gonna say I like that tokenized. Maybe it should be the Our Cryptocurrency tokenized podcast.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. We
But
got to work on something. I don't like
Yeah.
collectibles still.
The
But I was gonna
nice
ask
the
you.
nice thing about using the NFT medium for these artists here is that you can use the blockchain to see what they're doing. I can't go back to 50 Cent and say, which mixtapes did you put out at which time? That's harder to find. How many copies of these are out there that actually came from 50 Studio out of back of his trunk over to whoever? With these guys, I can see here's what they're working on, here's what they're tokenizing, and that kind of content for me, when I look at someone like Louie, I look at someone like Billy, who is incredibly talented, and you can see just scaling up because they're very strong professionals. For me to own some of their earliest work is just such an honor, and it's so fun to watch these artists evolve. So you could go out and buy a token, you could go out and buy a certain crypto, but you just have a number in a wallet. Really, the value of that is, what does the community do for you? Are you gaining value by being in that community? Are you meeting people? So for me, the cryptos, the numbers are a hard sell, where when you take a small buy, $50, $100 from one of the artists like these, you're watching their career unfold, and you have a little bit of piece of that. And to me, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's super lit. No, that's. I mean, people like Hydra definitely keep me my morale high in this space, because I'm not a trader. I didn't come in as a trader. I've never indulged in that. All my NFTs that I own have been gifted to me from different communities. I never sold an NFT, so it's like I never listed an NFT that I've like been gifted or anything like that. So it's just like my perspective on it is very unique, and I keep it creative, and I just keep it from there. Like, I've definitely done some major stuff in this space, and that's the community part. That's the part that I also talk to other artists or people. I got a lot of things that I'm doing that I'm bridging back to Web2 that kind of go back to like the startup, go back to like the seed money and having to work a different way. Everybody wants to be paid up front for the work they do, the dev work, everything. It's nobody has that energy of like decentralized. I'm gonna start this from the jump. Now, so that is the great side of how I scaled up in Web3, because developers and a lot of people from the funk community, a lot of people from Loser Club community, Alien Boy community, man, like it reached out to me, and I was able to collaborate and scale up my moves in Web3. From as soon as I got in this space, my scaling up has been in relation to who I'm meeting, who I'm collaborating from Web3. Period. So
Yeah,
that's
I
really
think
cool.
that's true. Like around, not even just cryptocurrency space. Like I think that's true of open source development in general, free and open source software. That's cool. I mean, that's really cool to hear that you got so much just energy and like help and I mean people interested in working with you. Did either of you guys ever use one of the platforms like one of, or which is like somewhere? I think some of these like NFT for music platforms were like supposed to be kind of, I don't know. We had the one of people on here about a year ago, I think, and then I haven't heard anything else from them, so I don't know. It seems like OpenSea is still kind of the dominant platform for everything NFT, but I was just curious if you guys have used like if you make use of Rarible or OpenSea or one of or any of these big like NFT platforms.
It just depends what you want to do, right? If you want to own your contract, aka your store, you're probably not going to drop through them. You're going to drop through something like Manifold.
So like on Hip Hop Heads, what's your website with your album?
hiphopheads.io. So if you,
And that's like custom contract that you
that was
deployed.
before you could even, that was before Manifold existed. So you,
Okay,
cool. That contract cost me 1.5 Ethereum to have Foobar right. Foobar.
Sounds like you deployed it at a time of high gas fees.
Yep,
Maybe
Foobar.
in 2021.
Foobar deployed it. I think it was 0.4 ETH, and which was like $1,600, something like that, to deploy the contract. But yeah, the platforms for me, I mean, I think the platforms are part of the problem. I think that, you know, if you're an artist using the platforms, more power to you. But like the platforms really never explained anything to an artist. I felt like they did like Sound XYZ would do all these, you know, drops with these artists in Twitter spaces. But like, you know, that's what the problem was to me. Like, why would anybody ever buy anything that didn't have any use case, you know? So if you are charging crazy dollars for your music NFT and it doesn't have some kind of use case other than the art, then like, what the hell am I doing here? And like, I think that the platforms didn't do a great job of integrating use case opportunities for artists who are using them. They just like, you know, even like OpenSea for a while, like it had the unlockable content box. Like for a while, Sound did not have that, you know, it was literally, they were just like, yeah, we're making millions of dollars selling these things and there's no secondary volume even on Snoop Dogg's, but we're going to just keep selling them. Like, you know, what the hell's going on here? You know, like the initial sale utility matters for me, right? Like it just matters for me. If I'm going to sell you something, it should do its job in the initial sale and you should be happy with it. And Hydrate's point about him being able to sell it later is why I like NFTs. They get their value from what I'm selling them because the ice cream is good enough on its own. I don't have to wrap it up in this special paper that, you know, people make it try to seem like it's something it's not. You know, the music is good enough on its own. But if I'm charging you 0.1, the music, in my opinion, isn't good enough on its own for me. That's my opinion. I want to give you a vinyl with
it
the
really made a lot of sense that like Billy said, he charges the same for if you pay with a credit card or if you pay with crypto, right? Like that seems to make sense. Like unless you're selling your one of one album and your Wu-Tang, then you could charge $1 million, right? But like,
well, that was the thing with Sound XYZ. 2 points. Like my perspective on it, the reason I didn't jump in it because I was already selling stuff through OpenSea. Just doing I hadn't done like Louie and leveled up to that point yet. But I understood like, dude, I've got distributors, everybody in my pocket in Web 2 already. So in Web 3, what they were doing early on was getting artists like me, or maybe some artists a little smaller, or artists trying to get artists maybe like Louie or Spotty who are making power moves in Web 3 because we already have audiences. So we're kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out of a big community. And then we got our own community that we're building. And they would get curators. They would get curators to curate these artists into their drops. What threw me off as a curator was like, yo, we get 10 to 15% of your mint. And I was like, bro, nah, dog. Like I'm literally running away from all of that. Like in Web 3, Web 2, that's all that is over there. And I got to deal with it because I want to be on big stages. Over here, bro, I'm not gonna drop an NFT on Sound and give you 10% because you brought me to that space. Like, nah, I'm gonna sell my shit on OpenSea, and I'm also giving my fans more value there because you guys don't really have the mechanism for me to give them more value, you know.
And I just want to make a quick point about pricing too. Like people are so caught up in Sound. It's an ERC 721 token, and before they put optimism on it, it was just ETH. You want to buy multiple tokens of an ERC 721. Tell me what the gas on that's going to be versus a Manifold. You buy 10 of my tokens on Manifold, the gas at 30 Gwei is less than 0.01. You buy 10 ERC 721s on Sound, the gas is going to be at least 0.03, 0.04 at least. The shit is wild.
Yeah.
People don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and it kind of sucks that is even like something that people would have to think about still. But I mean, I guess, yeah, I mean, we're still super early, right? Debating whether we should call it NFTs or collectibles or tokens or whatever. So I guess that's part and parcel.
You know, a big thing why they was the artists that they were getting the curate on there too. Like they reached out to me. I did my first drop with this DAO called Float. I don't know if you guys know who they are, but Float. I was the first artist that they did a drop with. His name is AJ. He comes from Wall Street. Very wealthy guy, but very integral. Very like really wants to see artists kind of like liberate themselves from Web 2. He's still doing his thing with Float. But they did a drop, and then I'm not gonna lie, they invested a lot of money on this drop. We did a website. It was Billyracxx.xyz or something like that. Can't remember. I think the website might be still up. I'm gonna find it. But we had did a whole drop. It was my album, my first album. That's when I came into Web3, and we actually made it available for people to buy the NFT with their credit card. So like half of my collectors were my fans from Web2. So it showed you that like, man, like you can. If you put the effort and money and like mechanisms for people to get it, people come in. Like a lot of my fans bought NFT and they didn't know what the fuck it was. Like I had fans like I do really good at merch in Web 2. I could do decent at merch just off of like dropping on my Instagram, Twitter, promo. I have to put the work in and the content, and the merch has to be quality. But I could probably like make my rent or something or a little bit more with dropping merch. So when I dropped that NFT drop, even though a lot of my fans didn't know what the fuck it was, I mean like 200 or 300 of them bought my NFT for $1, and because they were able to pay with their debit card, and I put the instructions in. It took so much work. I gave them the instructions to how to get it into their wallet, everything. I gave them instructions on how to download a wallet, a MetaMask. It was deep, and yeah, man, it just shows you like really like it, I feel what the NFT music side of it, whatever the music side of NFTs is just art and effort and branding. And
yeah, it's really cool that like you saw the value in it of like your fans being able to like actually own your music as like their token, own a token of your music, and like go through all of that trouble to put it out there for them and like get it out there, and it's really cool to see people using it in a way like where you guys are not just trying to maybe not just make money, but there was so many people who came on this show and that I've talked to in general who were like using it essentially as a way to like raise capital for their business, even if that business was just their art. Like they were just trying to sell 10,000 pictures for $1,000 each and be a millionaire right away, right? Like, I mean, so it's really cool to see people putting in work so that they can sell albums for $1 and like get it out there. Like it's definitely a different vibe on this show than we've had on some of the past shows for sure. And I am glad you guys joined. I guess I'll say if anybody listening wants to ask a question, you can put it in the YouTube chat or I'll check the Reddit thread a couple of times.
And let me ask
it.
Billy, because Louie shared a couple links to stuff he's doing. If someone's listening in or watching, how can they support you? How can they, consume your products, whether it's Web 2 or Web 3? Where should we go?
Man, on my Twitters and my social medias, I put Linktree links. There's similar Linktree links where you can click that one link and go to everything I do, from NFTs to my music videos to my performance reels to some other TikTok. Like I'm active across the board as an artist. I think for me, that's why sometimes my time spent in Web3 waivers, because Web3, if you put 8 hours and if you put a lot of time in a day in these different communities, you could be really successful. But for me, it's like a balance, because a lot of the success that I did in Web3 came off the back of like who I was already and what I'm doing. You know what I mean? A lot of people were like, who is this kid here integrally, but like he's really like in Web2 real, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, the real music, like he's actually having emotion. So it's really a balance, because I see my success in Web3 contingent to that. And maybe the other way around as well. You know what I mean? Like I've made the most money I've ever made from Web3. So it's just like, it's ironic. I mean, it's like weird. It's a weird balance for me that like, so I put so much effort into my drops, but at the same time, it's still so much to learn, bro. Like this space is still so niche, and I feel like that's why I put so much time into like creating these moments, because I'm trying to at the very least be the soundtrack to like this space exploding.
Or this soundtrack to the movement.
Yeah.
Well, you did that. So the Funks project, CryptoFunks V2, in the winter from 2021, 2022, the project finally started doing really well after months and months of kind of being bashed and being, rugged and all these problems that happen. And so he was really in lockstep with the vibe of that community. And he created a couple one of ones on Foundation, which sold very well. And that means a whole song, one person owns it. Now he made it available to everyone. He still has the licensing for that, but as a token, only one. I bought two, and so I, as a artist, I would not underestimate if you're deep in a community and that community starts doing very well in their project. Capture that essence and even be bold enough to offer some one of ones here and there. People will buy them. Like in some of those NFTs, that's some of the most beloved NFTs to me to this day. Is how he was able to so accurately capture the sound of the movement. And so I just challenge artists out there. Now, I put an article out January 2022 featuring both Louie and Billy talking about the music NFTs. And on the Twitter thread, some people were talking about doing a Wu-Tang style collaboration between numerous artists in Web3. I'm not issuing a challenge, but I would love to see that. Would love to see you all get together on a song. You'd have my buy and my support. And I'm gonna turn it to Murph. I think Murph, you gonna close this out?
Yeah, let me just say thank you guys for joining a lot. We appreciate it. And we'll get your link tree and whatever links, just send them to Drew and we'll put them in the comments on the YouTube and on the Reddit thread. And yeah, if you guys want to just take a minute and say anything you got to say before we finish up, we'll close right at 3:30, and that's perfect. You want to go first, Louie?
Yeah. Tap in with me, hiphopheads.io. Every day I do car bars on Twitter, so you can find me rapping in my car on my commute to work. And for those of you who need the reminder, remember that crypto is an act of defiance. Most rap to attack their desires. Hold back because they know that they could get the most cash signing an act of compliance. But if I got them by y'all at they balls, paying them pennies while they get it all, ripping off artists, control them and charge them when they work the hardest to benefit y'all. Banks gonna fuck you. Got gas in the tank when I come through. Chain gang finna hang and they bump blue. Raised like a sunroof. Thanks for the love too. I spit and it bang like a gun do. That Bitcoin change like a mudroom. Anti-establishment. Some real rapper shit. I really value it. It's non-fungible. It's Louie, baby. Love y'all. Thanks for having me.
I love that.
Cheers. Thank you. That was the best outro. Also, you had the most hype intro and the best outro in podcast history now, Louie. All right, you got anything?
Nah, man, I'm Billyracxx, man, the only co-leader. I actually opened my Pepe Green NFT back up for like a week just because I got some things I plan on doing over this next week. So if you want to, grab that. It's a hard-ass record, probably one of the hardest records on the blockchain. And I appreciate y'all, man. Every moment like this is valuable.
Cool. Cheers. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Louie. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Nick. And yeah, we'll see you guys in a month. Thank you all for listening too. And have a good Monday.